All right, so today we're going to be diving in something pretty interesting, I think. The potential for wheatgrass to fight cancer. We've got some research here that kind of breaks down wheatgrass's nutritional makeup. And I have to say, some of this stuff's not what I expected.
It is interesting how wheatgrass has kind of gotten pigeonholed, I think, as just a trendy health drink,
Yeah.
when there's actual science pointing to possible anti-cancer properties.
Right. So let's jump into that science. What really stands out to me is how wheatgrass isn't just about vitamins and minerals, it's about specific compounds that seem to target some of the mechanisms behind, how cancer grows.
Exactly. For example, we know cancer can thrive in acidic environments. Well, wheatgrass contributes to an alkaline environment in the body. There's also the detoxifying effect of chlorophyll, which is structurally similar to the hemoglobin in our blood.
Okay, that chlorophyll connection is fascinating. And then there's the antioxidant powerhouse aspect. We're talking about some pretty potent antioxidants like glutathione and carotenoids. What can you tell us about how those work in the context of cancer?
Think of it this way. Oxidative stress is like a constant bombardment on our cells, damaging their DNA and potentially paving the way for cancer. Antioxidants are like a shield, protecting those cells from that damage.
So it's not just about preventing damage, but also about repair.
Exactly. Some carotenoids, for instance, have shown potential in not just preventing damage, but actually helping to repair existing damage to cells. That's a key aspect of cancer prevention and treatment.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not just about neutralizing the bad stuff, but also giving our bodies the tools that they need to kind of fix what's been broken. Now, I'm also seeing that wheatgrass is packed with amino acids. What's their role in all of this?
Amino acids are the building blocks of protein, which is essential for all sorts of cellular processes, including repair. And during cancer treatment, the body needs all the help it can get to repair and recover from the damage caused by the disease itself, as well as the treatments.
So wheatgrass is like a one-stop shop for giving the body what it needs to rebuild and fortify itself. And then there are the bioflavonoids. I have to admit, I don't know a lot about those.
Bioflavonoids are really interesting compounds that come from plants. One in particular, apigenin, is found in wheatgrass and has been studied for its anti-inflammatory properties.
So less inflammation is good, but how does that connect to cancer?
Well, chronic inflammation can actually create an environment in the body that's more favorable for cancer cells to develop and grow. So reducing inflammation could potentially reduce that risk.
Interesting. So by tamping down inflammation, these bioflavonoids are essentially making it harder for cancer to take hold.
Precisely. And there's evidence to suggest that bioflavonoids like apigenin might also modulate the immune response, making it more effective at recognizing and destroying cancer cells.
Wow, so they're like a double whammy, fighting inflammation and boosting our immune system at the same time.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating is that apigenin has been studied for its potential to inhibit tumor growth and even prevent the spread of cancer cells, also known as metastasis.
Okay, so we're talking about some pretty significant potential here. I know research is still ongoing, but it sounds like there's a lot to be excited about when it comes to wheatgrass and its impact on cancer. What stands out to you from the research we've been looking at?
The way wheatgrass targets multiple pathways involved in cancer development is quite remarkable. It's not just one magic bullet, but an array of components working synergistically to support the body's defenses.
I'm curious, though, why aren't we hearing more about this in mainstream medicine? If wheatgrass has this much potential, why isn't it being prescribed alongside conventional cancer treatments?
Well, scientific research takes time, especially when we're talking about complex diseases like cancer. And while the research on wheatgrass is promising, we need more large-scale clinical trials to confirm its effectiveness and establish safe and standardized dosages.
So it's kind of a waiting game.
Yes, in a way. However, even with further research, it's important to remember that wheatgrass is unlikely to be a standalone cure for cancer. It's more likely to be viewed as a complementary therapy, working alongside conventional treatments.
That makes sense. So for anyone listening who might be thinking about adding wheatgrass to their diet, what's your advice?
The most important thing is to talk to your doctor, especially if you're currently undergoing cancer treatment. They can give you personalized advice and help you figure out if wheatgrass is a good fit for you and how it might interact with any medications you're taking.
Absolutely. It's always best to get professional guidance before making any big changes, especially when it comes to your health. But I think it's safe to say that wheatgrass is more than just a trendy health drink. It's a nutritional powerhouse with a lot of exciting potential.
I agree. And remember, you can always stay informed about the latest research by checking out reputable sources like medical journals and trusted health organizations.
That's great advice. So it's about staying informed, being proactive, and having those conversations with your healthcare provider to make the best decisions for you. Speaking of proactive, there's another interesting aspect to wheatgrass that I want to touch on.
Absolutely. Staying informed is key. And it's interesting that you mentioned the proactive aspect, because there's some research suggesting that wheatgrass might play a role in boosting the body's natural detoxification processes.
Now, that's something I haven't heard before. You mean beyond the antioxidant effects we were just discussing?
Yes, exactly. There's evidence suggesting that wheatgrass can enhance the activity of enzymes in the liver that are responsible for breaking down toxins.
So it's not just about neutralizing those free radicals,
Yeah.
but actually helping the body get rid of harmful substances more efficiently.
That's the idea. It's like giving your body's natural cleaning crew a power boost. And this is particularly relevant in the context of cancer, because some toxins can actually contribute to cancer development.
Wow. So wheatgrass is kind of working on multiple levels here, protecting cells from damage, supporting repair, and even helping to eliminate toxins that could potentially be harmful.
Precisely. And this multifaceted approach is what makes wheatgrass so intriguing. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution, but rather a comprehensive way to support the body's natural defenses against cancer.
You mentioned that some toxins can contribute to cancer development. Are there any specific types of toxins that wheatgrass might be helpful in eliminating?
That's a great question. Research is still ongoing, but some studies suggest that wheatgrass might be particularly effective in helping the body get rid of heavy metals, pesticides,
Yeah.
and certain byproducts of industrial processes. These are all substances that we can be exposed to in our environment and that have been linked to an increased risk of certain types of cancer.
So in a way, wheatgrass could be seen as a way to mitigate some of the negative effects of our modern lifestyles. I mean, it's no secret that we're exposed to more toxins now than ever before.
That's a very insightful observation. And while we can't completely eliminate our exposure to these harmful substances, we can certainly take steps to support our bodies in dealing with them. And wheatgrass, with its potential to enhance detoxification pathways, could be a valuable tool in that effort.
This is all starting to sound pretty impressive, but I'm wondering if wheatgrass is so effective at detoxifying the body, are there any potential downsides to consuming it, especially for someone already dealing with a health condition like cancer?
That's a very important question, and it's one I get asked a lot. While wheatgrass is generally considered safe for most people, it's crucial to talk to your doctor before incorporating it into your diet, especially if you have any underlying health conditions or are taking medication.
Are there any specific concerns for people with cancer?
In some cases, there could be potential interactions with certain medications or treatments. For example, some chemotherapy drugs work by suppressing the immune system. And while wheatgrass can help boost the immune system, that might not always be the desired outcome during treatment. It really depends on the individual's situation and their specific treatment protocol.
That makes sense. So it's not just about the potential benefits of wheatgrass, but also about understanding how it might interact with other factors that are at play, especially when dealing with a complex disease like cancer.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to have that open dialogue with your healthcare provider. They can help you weigh the potential risks and benefits and make informed decisions that are right for you.
So it's about personalized medicine, essentially. What works for one person might not work for another. And it's all about finding the right approach for your individual needs.
Absolutely. And that brings me to another interesting point about wheatgrass. While most of the research has focused on its potential in cancer prevention and treatment, there's also growing interest in its ability to improve overall well-being and quality of life for people with cancer.
Okay, now that's a new angle. What specifically are researchers looking at?
Some studies suggest that wheatgrass may help to reduce fatigue, improve appetite, and even lessen some of the side effects of cancer treatment, such as nausea and vomiting.
That's remarkable. So even if wheatgrass isn't a cure for cancer, it could potentially make the journey a little bit easier for those going through it.
Exactly. And I think that's an important aspect to highlight. We often focus so much on the disease itself that we sometimes forget about the human experience of living with cancer.
I'm really glad you brought that up. It's a powerful reminder that health and well-being encompass more than just the absence of disease.
Precisely. And it's about finding ways to support the whole person physically, emotionally, and even spiritually.
You've given us so much to think about today. Before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you about something else I've been seeing in the research. A potential connection between wheatgrass and the gut microbiome. I know that's a hot topic these days, but what's the link to cancer?
That's a fascinating area of research and one that's still in its early stages. But what we're starting to understand is that the gut microbiome, that vast community of microorganisms living in our intestines, plays a significant role in our overall health, including our immune function and our risk of developing certain diseases, including cancer.
So a healthy gut could potentially translate to a lower risk of cancer.
That's what some research is suggesting. And there's evidence that wheatgrass, with its rich nutrient profile, might be able to support a healthy gut microbiome.
Wow, so we've gone from antioxidants to detoxification to immune modulation to the gut microbiome. It's incredible how all of these seemingly disparate elements are interconnected.
That's the beauty of the human body. Everything is connected. And when we start to understand these connections, we can begin to appreciate the profound impact that something as simple as wheatgrass can have on our health.
It's like that saying, we are what we eat, but maybe it's more like we are what we absorb.
I like that. And with wheatgrass, it seems like we're absorbing a whole lot of goodness.
Okay, so let's say someone is listening to this and they're intrigued by what they're hearing. What would be your advice for them in terms of incorporating wheatgrass into their diet? Are we talking about juicing powders, supplements? What's the best approach?
That's a great question. There are several ways to consume wheatgrass, and the best approach really depends on individual preferences and lifestyle.
Let's break it down. What are some of the pros and cons of each method? Maybe we can start with juicing, since that seems to be the most popular way to consume wheatgrass.
Juicing is definitely a popular option, and for good reason. When you juice wheatgrass, you're essentially concentrating all those nutrients into a shot. It's a quick and easy way to get a potent dose of vitamins, minerals, and those beneficial plant compounds we've been discussing.
But I imagine there are some downsides to juicing too, right?
Yes, one potential downside is that you lose some of the fiber content during the juicing process. Fiber is important for gut health and can help slow down the absorption of sugar, which can be beneficial for overall health.
So if someone is looking for a way to incorporate wheatgrass into their diet that preserves the fiber content, what would you recommend?
Wheatgrass powder is a great alternative. It's made by drying and grinding the wheatgrass leaves, so you retain all the nutrients, including the fiber. You can easily add wheatgrass powder to smoothies, yogurt, or even just mix it with water.
That sounds pretty convenient. And what about supplements? I've seen wheatgrass capsules and tablets at the health food store. Are those just as effective as juicing or using the powder?
Supplements can be a good option for people who don't like the taste of wheatgrass or who are looking for a more standardized dose. But it's important to choose a reputable brand and to check the label to make sure you're getting a high-quality product.
That's a good point. Not all supplements are created equal. So if someone is considering trying wheatgrass, it sounds like there are several options available. And the best choice really depends on their individual needs and preferences.
Exactly. And I always encourage people to experiment and find what works best for them. Some people love the ritual of juicing fresh wheatgrass every morning, while others prefer the convenience of a powder or supplement. There's no right or wrong answer.
I think that's a great takeaway. It's about finding what fits into your lifestyle and what you're most likely to stick with. After all, consistency is key when it comes to reaping the potential benefits of any dietary change.
Couldn't agree more. And it's important to remember that wheatgrass is just one piece of the puzzle. A healthy diet, regular exercise, stress management, and a supportive social network are all important factors that contribute to overall health and well-being.
That's such a valuable reminder. We often get so focused on finding that one magic bullet that we forget about the importance of a holistic approach. It's about taking care of the whole person, not just addressing isolated symptoms.
And it's about empowering ourselves to take control of our health. We have more agency than we often realize, and even small changes can make a big difference over time.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to thank you for sharing your expertise and insights with us today. It's been a truly fascinating exploration of wheatgrass and its potential. And I think we've all learned a lot.
It's been my pleasure. I always enjoy these conversations. And I hope our listeners have found this deep dive informative and inspiring.
And remember, if you're curious to learn more about wheatgrass, don't hesitate to do your own research and talk to your healthcare provider to see if it might be a good fit for you.
Absolutely. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring the fascinating world of health and wellness.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Yeah, and another thing is it's important to consider the source of your wheatgrass. If you're juicing at home, you want to make sure you're using organic wheatgrass that's been grown without pesticides or herbicides.
Right, because those chemicals could end up in your juice, kind of defeating the purpose of detoxifying your body.
Exactly. And if you're buying wheatgrass powder or supplements, Look for brands that are certified organic and non-GMO. That way you can be confident you're getting a pure and potent product.
Good advice. So we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about the nutritional powerhouse that is wheatgrass,
Mm.
its potential role in cancer prevention and treatment, the importance of detoxification, and even the connection to the gut microbiome. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap things up?
I think the main takeaway here is that wheatgrass is a fascinating and promising plant with a wide range of potential health benefits. While more research is needed to fully understand its role in cancer, the evidence we have so far suggests that it could be a valuable tool in supporting overall health and well-being.
I agree. And I think it's inspiring to see how nature can provide us with such powerful allies in our health journey. So to our listeners out there, if you're curious about wheatgrass, I encourage you to do your own research. Talk to your healthcare provider and see if it might be a good fit for you.
And remember, health is a journey, not a destination. It's about making informed choices and taking small steps every day to nourish your body and mind.
Well said. Thanks again for joining us today.
It's been my pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, stay curious, stay healthy, and keep diving deep.